Hi, it's Mike from Pro Tools Expert, and today we're going to take a look at a very interesting algorithmic reverb plugin from the guys at Acon Digital called Verberate. And you can see the user interface here, very simple, very clean, all the necessary settings all available, but of course with any plugin, and especially reverb, what does it sound like? So one of the things I like to do with reverb is to try it on speech. I've inserted it into a track which has got some speech from a recent Pro Tools Expert podcast, and we can take a listen to see what it sounds like.
Soho in London, for those of you that don't know, is the sort of second film.
So we've got different presets that we can go through. So we can go into a large Gothic cathedral.
We have over 400 post-production facilities in 4 streets.
What I love to do with reverb is just hit the stop button and see what the decay sounds like. And that is really, really nice. One of the things you can do when you're looking at different presets is to use this lock, dry and reverb levels together so that the relative levels stay the same as you clock through different presets.
Film centre of the UK. We've got Pinewood and Shepperton.
Whereas if you have that unlocked, watch these two faders here.
We have over 400 post-production facilities in 4 streets, and most of them are in buildings that are higgledy-piggledy. They've got all sorts of walls in the way. And often
so as you can see, we can look at presets simply by using these arrows, or we can go into the different factory presets and choose a particular preset that we want to have a look at.
Then I think this is genius. Soho in London, for those of you that don't know, is the sort of second film centre of the UK. We've got Pinewood and Shepperton, and then
So what I've got here is a mono instance on a mono track. But what if I wanted to do stereo? Well, there isn't the option with Verberate to go into mono stereo like there are with some other plugins. But as a rule, I much prefer to use send and return. So let's just make that plugin inactive, and then we'll unmute the return. And here is our instance working in conventional send and return.
Soho in London, for those of you that don't know, is...
And you've got these options here, not only to adjust the dry level, the reverb and the early reflections with separate faders, but we've also got these simple buttons here to turn them on and off. And of course, now I'm using send and return. I don't want the dry level in the send and return path, so we leave that turned off. We've got access to the different algorithms as well. And from a post point of view, it's great to see an outdoor algorithm, because that's often what we need to create the sense of outdoors, because bizarrely outdoors does have a reverb. Unless you're in the middle of nowhere with no surfaces to reflect from, you will get audio bouncing back. So if you're in a forest, you get lots of delays coming back from all the different tree trunks. If you're in a built-up area, you get lots of bounce back from different walls. So that's really nice to see that they've considered that as an option. Then we've got a range of controls, so we can adjust the reverb time, the size of the room, the amount of pre-delay. That's really good. I always like to actually have quite a lot of pre-delay, and then it means that I actually don't need as much of the effect because we're moving the reverb away from the original sound. We've got the option for a little bit of modulation and the stereo spread as well. So all the controls that one needs for a reverb unit, all nicely laid out, easy to read, easy to access. And then these two sections here, we can modify the way that the decay happens. So here I can actually sort of reduce the amount of decay, the percentage of the reverb time in low frequencies. And then I can use a cutoff filter to effectively, again, reduce the amount of decay for higher frequencies. And that's really good. Sometimes you find high frequency content, sort of sibilances in vocals, can really excite a reverb unrealistically. So that's really nice to see. And then there's also an EQ section across the output. So this is going to affect the output of the reverb itself. So I can adjust the the high frequencies or the low frequencies. So I can, even with just these two, and then the cutoffs, I can generate some quite useful EQ curves for my reverb return, and these are across the output. Now, if you need any help with the Verberate, then you can click on the help option and you can see that it opens up the manual in your browser, which is really, really useful. So you don't need to be connected to the internet. You've got the manual installed on your computer and openable from the browser. So that's a brief look at the Acon Digital Verberate for speech. What I'm going to do now is open up one of my music sessions and let's take a look at how it performs on different types of music content. Okay, so here's a session. We've got drum kit with a specific reverb. We've got a full string section, 2 complete passes of a string section, and I've got a reverb for the string section, and then I've also got a reverb specifically for the vocals. So let's take the opportunity to have a look at how Verberate handles these different types of audio. So here is the instance that I've got on the drum sub. So if we just hit the solo. So I've chosen a preset, the drum room preset, and see how it sounds. To me that's working really nicely, but just to prove it, I'm just going to mute the reverb return. I'm back. And that to me has just added all that I needed for the drum kit in this particular song. So that's looking at the plugin for drums. Now how about strings? So let's just unsolo those, and then we'll solo the 2 groups of strings, 2 passes of strings, and we open up the reverb and let's play a bit of the strings. Again, I've used this preset called Lush Hall. Now this particular plugin is actually in line with the strings, so it's going into my strings sub, and then so it's actually in the subgroup channel for my strings section. So let's take a listen to how it performs. Pass. So that's the strings as they were recorded in the space. And again, what I love to do with reverb is just hit the stop button and see what the decay sounds like. So here we go. Very nice indeed. So that's just give you a sense of the sort of sounds that it can produce on strings. As I say, I just use this Lush Hall. Lots of other presets that you can click through, and of course you can create your own settings and then save them as a preset. So what about the vocals? So if we just take the solo off the strings tracks and take a look at the vocal line.
Of the name El Shaddai, El Shaddai,
I've used a very simple medium hall.
We will praise and
I just love the sound as it decays away.
of the name El Shaddai.
So how do they all sound together in context?
We will praise and lift you high, El Shaddai. Through your love and through the Ram, you save the son of Abraham. Through the power of...
So let's move it to a later section where everything's really going.
Still the same, by the power of the name El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Adonai.
Lovely. So that's a really nice sound. Simple interface, great sound, and a great price too. I'll see you again soon.